The following podcast may not be for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, Unexplained Realms dwellers. Do you remember when the world wasn't a maze of digital trails? Maybe not. Shockingly, some of us lived without the internet. Honestly, it's hard to even remember those days. These days, we are all lost in the endless scroll of social media apps, drowning in a sea of constant information on the internet, never quite sure what's real and what's carefully crafted deception. In this episode, we will peel back the layers of our modern digital nightmares and journey to where it all began. This is where we will find a story that blends quantum physics, interdimensional travel, and it's one of the internet's very first conspiracy theories. This is the strange tale of Ong's hat. Deep in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey lies a ghost town with a peculiar name, Ong's Hat. Today it's a little more than a dot on old maps. It's a whispered legend among locals. But in the late 1990s, this forgotten place became the center of what might be the internet's first viral conspiracy theory. You may be familiar with Pine Barrens. It lies deep within New Jersey, and it is a stretch of wilderness that whispers secrets of the damned. It's a place where the demons dance between twisted trees and mob victims rest in shallow graves. Here, the legendary Jersey Devil was born, a tale that has stalked us through the shadows for centuries. But we can't forget the real monsters. Mobsters come wearing suits and carrying shovels, turning these ancient woods into the mafia's own private graveyard. The pines have soaked up so many screams, they say that even the soil runs dark with secrets. In the dead of night, when fog clings to the asphalt like a death shroud, locals whisper about a particular route through New Jersey's Pine Barrens. Follow the turnpike to exit 4, they'll tell you, their voices dropping to hushed warnings. East on Route 70, past shadows that seem to move of their own accord until you reach the 4-mile circle at Route 72. Then Magnolia Road beckons, a twisted ribbon of pavement that leads to Ong's Hat, a place where reality itself begins to unravel. Some say it's just another ghost town, abandoned to time and darkness. But others swear it's something far more sinister, a tear in the fabric of our world, a doorway to dimensions we were never meant to see. The real question isn't how you get there, it's whether you'll make it back. The area is abandoned, with decaying structures standing like tombstones against the sky. The town's name even carries the weight of dark folklore. There is no actual proof of the origin of the name, but some believe it was named after a man with the last name Ong, an early settler in the area. I spent some significant time in the area over the years, and the tale that was told to me was that Ong was a mysterious figure who cast a strange spell over the women of the settlement. They say his silk hat gleamed unnaturally in the moonlight as he danced. His movements hypnotic, almost inhuman. One by one, the local girls would fall under his spell. Ong, being a womanizer, was caught by one of these young ladies. She took his hat and stomped on it. Upset that his hat was ruined, he threw it. It landed in a tree where it stayed for ages, alas naming the town Ong's Hat. Ong's Hat may have remained a ghost town with whispered ghost stories among the locals, but in the late 1990s, the early days of the internet, Author Joseph Matheny posted a story about a group of radical Princeton physicists in the 1970s. They were frustrated with the constraints of mainstream academia. They established a secret compound in Ong's Hat called the Institute of Advanced Studies. These weren't your typical scientists. They were mystics, chaos mathematicians, and quantum theorists who believed they could crack the code of reality itself. According to the story, these renegade researchers combined cutting-edge quantum mechanics with ancient meditation techniques to achieve interdimensional travel, using devices they named eggs, sophisticated consciousness-altering chambers. They claim to have discovered doorways to parallel universes. The story takes a dark turn in the mid-1980s. They say the government got wind of their experiments. Some versions of the tale claim that federal agents stormed the compound, resulting in a bloody confrontation that left 7 researchers dead. Others say the scientists managed to escape through their interdimensional portals, never to be seen in this reality again. The story went viral and conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. But here's where things get really interesting. This wasn't just another campfire tale. The Ong's Hat story became one of the first conspiracy theories to spread through the early internet, spawning countless bulletin board discussions and mysterious documents known as the Incunabula Papers, a series of cryptic texts that blurred the lines between fact and fiction. The mastermind behind Ong's Hat was Joseph Matheny, who crafted this tale in the 1980s, weaving together real locations, actual scientific concepts, and pure imagination. It became what we now call an alternate reality game, perhaps the first of its kind. But even knowing it was fiction didn't stop people from making pilgrimages to Ong's Hat, hoping to find traces of those mysterious quantum eggs or doorways to other dimensions. Some say that on quiet nights when the Pine Barrens fog rolls in, you can still hear the hum of interdimensional machinery echoing through the trees. Was Ong's Hat just an elaborate piece of digital storytelling? Or did Matheny and his collaborators stumble onto something real? Could there be a kernel of truth buried beneath the layers of the fiction? In the end, like all great mysteries, Ong's Hat leaves us with more questions than answers. The Pine Barren area of New Jersey is wild. So many crazy tales come from there. It's even been featured on the TV show The Sopranos and The X-Files. And so, with Ong's Hat, all that remains, a ghost town lost to the pines of New Jersey, its secrets buried beneath decades of speculation and myth. Some say the Institute's quantum gate still hums somewhere in those woods, doorways to other worlds hidden behind the rustling leaves, though others insist it was all an elaborate game and a story that grew legs and learned to run. Perhaps the truth of Ong's Hat lies not in proving if something happened there, but in understanding why its story refuses to die. In an age of satellite imagery and instant information, we still hunger for mysteries and places where reality might be thin enough to let something strange slip through. Keep your eyes open the next time you drive through Pine Barrens. That dirt road you pass might lead to nothing but trees and shadows, or it might lead somewhere else entirely. After all, in Ong's Hat, the line between reality and fantasy was never quite as solid as we'd like to believe. Until next time, keep questioning reality. You never know what doors might open.